Hey guys, it's Phil. Today I want to review Commando. The version I'm going to review is the ZX Spectrum version, which I personally feel is one of the better versions out of all of them. Which I've actually only played about 3, but I've played the arcade, the Commodore 64 and the Speccy, and I have to say that the Spectrum is pretty faithful to the original. I did get to play the arcade version way back when it was released in 1985. Played it in an arcade in Bournemouth, and it was probably a little bit too hard for me, but as with a lot of arcade games, that was the whole point, so that you had to plug more money in to carry on. But the Spectrum version, they seem to find the balance quite well. The Commodore 64 version, I remember buying it and I beat it within the first few goes, so I was a bit pissed off about that, so I actually took the game back. I don't think it had all of the levels. I think what they tried to do was make it look as much like the original as possible, but possibly, I don't know, maybe they ran out of memory, or I just couldn't be asked to do the rest of the levels. I'm not quite sure what the score was there. Yeah, so the Spectrum version also came out in 1985. The arcade game, of course, was by Capcom, but it was Elite who did the conversion, known as Elite Systems, originally known as Richard Wilcox Software, which doesn't quite have the same ring. And this was released only a year after the software house was founded. As well as the Spectrum, the 64, you can also get this on the Amstrad, the Intellivision, the Atari, BBC Micro, Nintendo, and many other systems around that time. And then later, the arcade original became available on the PlayStation. So you play the part of Super Joe, who basically gets dropped in the middle of the jungle, and it seems to be your task to just blast through, one man. It's kind of like those trailers to those movies, one man against an army, and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, there really isn't much plot to it. It's just a case of running through the jungle and shoot the shit out of anything that moves. And you've got your submachine gun to aid you, and a pocket full of grenades. And as you can see me picking up some more grenades there, you want to make sure that you have a full stash of those. And basically, as you get to the end of each level, you get a sort of a wave of enemies that you have to shoot, and it can be quite awkward because, as well as if you're hit by the bullets, you get killed. But if you sort of touch the blokes, they kind of run you through, as it were, with maybe they've got some kind of knife or something. And it's quite funny if you watch closely at the end of the level when you get the commander, who's sort of a different colour, normally red, I think. He'll come out and sort of wave the troops on and then promptly disappear. But you can bag a few extra points by shooting him in the back as he tries to flee. The game was developed by a guy called Keith Burkill and Nigel Alderton, and the graphics was done by Rory Green and somebody called Karen. There was a sequel to this game that came out in 1989 called Mercs, which a lot of you may remember. And there's a Commando 3 called Wolf of the Battlement, which is downloadable on Xbox Live Arcade, something which I didn't realise. And also, if you're a PlayStation owner, you can download it on the PlayStation Network as well. Now, although I'm playing the Spectrum version here, if you get a chance to listen to the music from the 64 version, the music was done by Rob Hubbard, who most people tend to cite as the kind of #1 for compositions, along with Dalglish and Martin Gowan and various other people that I probably should mention. But the music is really good, worth checking out. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the kind of history. The gameplay, like I say, is very good. It's pretty tough. I find that the best policy is just to keep on the move as much as possible. Otherwise, the smallest stray bullet, and they are literally, as you can see, 1 pixel in size. That's the good thing about the Spectrum. There's an element of sort of accuracy, and I think that's why these kind of games lend themselves very well to the old Speccy. But it just means that you've got to be really careful, because just one of those little stray bullets and you're a goner. You do get a few lives, so you get about 5 lives, and you can kind of pick up extra lives as you go along, from sort of points and things. This game also influenced a few other games that came out soon after. Some that you'll probably remember, like Gunsmoke, which is the kind of Wild West version of this, really. It's pretty similar in some respects. Rambo also was kind of a little bit of a crib. And Akari Warriors, which I would probably say to a degree is probably even better, certainly for the fact that you can play 2-player. And if anybody's played it in the arcade, you'll know that it had this unique joystick which allowed you to toggle the direction of the player, so you could run forwards, but you could then be facing to the right or to the left, or in fact pretty much any direction as you're running along. Which unfortunately made the conversions a little bit strange, shall we say? But yeah, a wicked game. And they've got the difficulty level good, as well as the kind of difficulty curve. So as you go through, each kind of end sequence gets more and more difficult. As you can see here, I was having a bit of trouble completing this last level, which is a bit of a shame. I end up biting the dust at this point. But beyond this level, you get to the airport, and you've got these guys firing kind of rocket launchers, as well as millions of guys shooting at you in vehicles and all manner of things. So, but yeah, no, it's a wicked game. And like I say, it's one that I still fire up on the emulator. This one, in fact, I'm actually playing it online. There's a website, zxspectrum.net. They've got loads and loads of games. I was a bit worried because I went there recently and a lot of them had disappeared, but in fact what they were doing was just revamping the website. Now they've got even more on there, including some of the Ultimate Play the Game games as well. Unfortunately, it seems like it looks slightly dodgy with the resolution. How you might see some kind of funny lines going across the screen. It's a bit of a shame. But anyway, I'm going to give this a Retro Games News rating of, let's give it 93%. I would have given it higher at the time, but bearing in mind this is nearly, I don't know, getting on for 30 years old, I would say this still holds up. It's still very playable, good fun to play. So check it out. Yes, that's Commando, ZX Spectrum. Take it easy, guys.